Hi boys and girls, this is your Language Arts e-learning lesson for Friday, April 24th. We're going to start with grammar, looking at comparing with adjectives. Okay, this is page 158. We're going to just review 158, comparing with adjectives. As a reminder, you know that adjectives describe nouns. One way they describe is by comparing people, places, or things. To compare two people, places, or things, we add ER to the adjective. And to compare three or more, we add EST. So, with one person, you would say, my brother is tall. My mother is taller than my brother. My father is tallest of all. Okay, so when you're just comparing two, you use the ER. And when you're comparing three, you use EST. Let's take a look at the chart again to refresh your memory. Okay, one syllable adjectives, you add ER or EST to the adjective. Okay, so in this case we have bright, brighter, brightest. Adjectives that end with E, you drop the final E and you add the ER or the EST. Safe, safer, safest. Rule number 3, adjectives that end with a consonant and Y. You change the Y to an I and you add ER or EST. So you have busy, busier, busiest. Okay, and again, see how that Y changes to an I when you add the ER and the EST. Remember that rule doesn't change with the consonant before the Y. That's when the Y changes to I. Okay, and then number 4, one syllable adjectives that end with a single vowel and a consonant. So then you double the consonant and you add ER or EST. So you have a one syllable adjective like flat, flat, one syllable. Okay, it has a single vowel, the A, followed by a consonant letter, the T. So therefore you have to double that T, then add the ER, and double that T, and add the EST. Rule number 5. Some adjectives with 2 syllables and all adjectives with more than 2 syllables, you use more or most instead of ER or EST. So some 2-syllable adjectives and all adjectives that have more than 2 syllables. Okay, so then you would add more or most. So if you have careful, careful is 2 syllables, but in this case it's one where we use more and most. So we would say more careful and most careful. And rule number 6. All adjectives, when you're talking about less instead of more, then you use least or less. Sorry. When you're talking about less instead of more, you use less or least with the adjective. There is no ER, EST. We're just going to add less or least. So with brave, it becomes less brave or least brave. All right, now, again, this is just a review, a refresher for you on comparing with adjectives. So let's just quick little review again. We use the ER when we're comparing two. We use EST when it's 3 or more. So with one syllable adjectives, we're going to add that ER or EST, bright, brighter, brightest. If the adjective ends with an E, you're just going to drop the E before you add the ending. So safe, safer, safest. When you have a consonant followed by a Y, you change the Y to an I before you add the ending. Busy, busier, busiest. The one syllable adjectives that end with a single vowel and a consonant, you double that consonant. So you have A followed by T, single vowel followed by a single consonant, double that T for flatter and flattest. And then some of your adjectives that are 2 syllables, and then all adjectives with more than 2 syllables, you're going to use more and most. Careful, more careful, most careful. And then if you're talking about less instead of more, you're going to use less and least. brave, less brave, least brave. All right, so what it is that I'd like you to work on today for something a little different is I want you to take either photographs. You could either take photographs or you can illustrate, depends what you'd like to do. But I'd like about 5 different groups of comparing with adjectives. So, for example, here we have my brother is tall, my mother is taller, my father is tallest of all. So in this case, you could take a photograph of, 3 family members and you can have tall, taller, tallest. Okay? That would be one thing. Or if you wanted to draw, you can draw trees and you draw one that's tall, one that's taller, one that's tallest. Okay, so be creative in how you come up with your 5 groups where you're showing the comparison with your adjectives. Okay, again, making sure though that you also follow the rules, because in addition to taking a photograph, you need to label underneath the adjective that you're using and the correct spelling for each as well. Okay, so you just need to come up with 5 groups. Okay, you just need 5 groups, and it could be done in photographs or it can be in illustration. It's your choice. Just have some fun with that, and again, make sure you send that in. Okay, so again, it's just 5 groups, but you need to make sure you label whether you're drawing or you're taking photographs. Make sure you label those adjectives and make sure you follow the rules here on page 158. Okay, then today you also have wordly wise. Okay, wordly wise, you have sections 13C and 13D. 13C is circling the letter or letters next to the correct answer. You have questions about your vocabulary words. You may have more than one correct answer for each. But I would like us to take a look right now at 13D, which is a word study. And this is called Latin roots. Complete each sentence by adding the correct Latin root and its meaning, and choose from the list of Latin roots. Well, you know that a lot of our words come from other languages, and a lot of our words do come from Latin. And so we're going to take a look here. There are 9 Latin roots and their meanings, and we have a lot of our English words that do come from those Latin roots. So let's take a look. We have tempus, which means time, rompere, to break, visus, to see, amicus, friend, annus, year, locus, place, jacere, to throw, centum, 100, and solus, alone. So let's take a look at number 1. Number 1 says, to isolate someone is to cut that person off from others. The word comes from the Latin blank, meaning blank. So the word isolate means to cut that person off from others. So now you have to go back up into the 9 Latin roots and find a Latin root that is similar in meaning to isolate and where you can see where the word comes from. When you look through all of your Latin roots, you should notice that solus means alone. Also, solus has that S-O-L that you also see in isolate. And isolate means someone is cut off from others. Okay, that would mean alone. So the word isolate then comes from the Latin solus, because that's the root that we're looking at. And we know that solus means alone. Okay, because that's what we're told it means. Okay, so you need to read through, look carefully at the English word, look at the meaning of the English word, and then find the Latin root that it seems as though it has come from. Then you write what that Latin root word is, and then the meaning of the Latin root. And each of the Latin roots, the meanings are here in parentheses at the top. Also, there are 9 Latin roots, but you have 10 words that you're using. Okay, so that means then that one of the Latin roots will be used more than one time. Okay? All right, and then you also have today your spelling test. That is for lesson 26, spelling test in Spelling City. Fever we will be discussing together at our Zoom meeting. So that's all that you need to work on for today, and of course spend some time reading your AR book. Okay, if you have any questions, please reach out to me, and I'll see you later at Zoom. Bye.